All right, so we have a strap and a vertical bolster. The strap's gonna go on the thigh, a little bit above the midline of the thigh. Feet are together, knees are together. And the strap's not like super tight, but it's snug. There's not a lot of play in it. And then from here, scoot the buttocks a little bit forward, lie down, adjust the pillow. And then extend your legs. Make sure you're at the center of your mat. And extend your legs now. Once you're confident that you're centered, then go ahead and release the little toes to the floor. Glasses off. Now the arms are going to be a little different today. So I'm externally rotating to the maximum. And then extending the hands down toward the feet. Then I'm going to rock to one side and kind of tuck the outer edge of my hand, fourth and fifth finger maybe just the fifth finger, underneath my outer thigh buttock. So I'm kind of pinning my arms in. So it's a very sort of tight, narrow, long shape that we're creating today. Then let the elbows descend to the floor. When you feel the elbows descend to the floor, hopefully you also feel the collarbones widening and the outer corners of the shoulders coming down toward the floor. This position of the arms is to assist with the external rotation of the arms and to kind of prevent the arms from derotating. So sort of pinning the arms, pinning the hands underneath us to get that feeling, to get that shape. See that the buttocks are even, that one hand is not tilting the pelvis toward one side, but that the buttocks are evenly settled into the floor. And you'll probably notice that one arm externally rotates more easily than the other arm. So sort of work with that contradiction and try to assist that reluctant arm. See if you can assist that reluctant arm in turning out a little bit more. Don't put a lot of effort into it because we're going to stay here for a while. But just do some very mild micro adjustments so that you can settle into Shavasana, feeling as even, as centered, as balanced as possible. So now here, just rest. And hopefully you feel a real sense of length. Still feel very tall here, very tall and long. Let the legs be heavy, little toes rolling out, outer shins descending. The legs are contained by the strap. So the legs are not really allowed to splay. So there's a real length in the legs also. See that the buttocks are releasing away from the back waist. So when we are consciously opening the chest, then often the low back shortens and the buttocks climb up to the back waist, but deliberately lengthen the buttocks away from the back waist. widen across the back waist. And yet there's still a feeling of elongation with the hands tucked under you, the outer elbows descending, biceps rolling out, collarbones wide. But all that should be happening with very little effort. So it's not like you're making it happen. It's just by virtue of the asana, by virtue of the setup, that those things are happening. Let the face become completely passive, throat soft. Soften the thumb joints. So because the hands are being compressed, thumbs might also feel like they need to spread, but soften the thumb, let the thumb be passive. When the thumb is active, we're activating our sense of identity, our sense of responsibility to action, and to some extent, ego. So when you deliberately pacify your thumbs, and it quiets that part of your consciousness, which we call asmita. Asmita is that part of chitta, that part of consciousness that we define as ego, I shape. And I don't mean ego as an egotistical, the way we use it in casual speech, but ego as in how we identify that part of us which we conceive of as our identity. Or as Vicky Sanger says, the I shape. So let the I shape become a little muted, a little subdued by softening that thumb joint, softening that willpower. Most of the day we have to exert quite a bit of willpower, but right now, very little. You've already exerted quite a bit of willpower in putting yourself into this shape, this asana. So then just allow the shape, the asana to take over and let the mind become passive. When I say the mind is passive, you're still aware. So you're still aware of the breath. Still aware of your body. You're still aware of where you are in space, how you're relating to the space around you. Now, as we begin to work with the breath, bring the attention to the back body and let the inhales travel up the back body. So this is part of why we have this particular arrangement today, is to create a length and spaciousness in the back body as the breath inhales travel up, and then send the exhales down the front body. This is the opposite of how we often practice the inhales and exhales. So up the back body, like climbing a ladder, up each vertebra, and then down the front body. Feel the bottom ribs descending as you release the air from the lungs. Getting taller through the back body as you inhale, and then sending the breath down the front body. Feel the xiphoid process and the bottom ribs descending toward the hips as you exhale. So get that basic movement, that basic consciousness. And then you can start working with it. So as you inhale up the back body, feel the space between the shoulder blades, and then lift the dorsal spine. While keeping the shoulder blades broad, lift the dorsal spine from back to front as you inhale. As you exhale, keep that opening of the chest. Feel the breath sweeping down, and then at the end of the exhale, let the bottom ribs and the xiphoid draw down. Inhaling up the back body, climbing up, spreading between the shoulder blades as you pull the dorsal spine from back to front. When you exhale, keep the broadness that you've created. Toward the end of the exhale, allow the bottom ribs and the xiphoid process to move down. So there's most definitely a movement of the rib cage as you inhale and exhale. Feel the breath traveling through the back body and then descending through the front body. It's very subtle to feel both the spreading between the shoulder blades and the dorsal spine moving in. So I'm trying to keep the softness, not to make the back body hard, but to keep some softness between the shoulder blades, but then still the spine lifting from back to front so that the chest has the capacity to hold the breath, to contain the breath. In Sanskrit, we call it kumbhak, that container. It's like a vessel for the breath. And then a kumbhaka is when you hold the breath. And we're not doing the kumbhaka now, but I want you to have that feeling of the vessel. Do 3 more cycles like this. So inhaling up the back body, exhaling down the front body. Keeping the shoulder blades broad, but pulling the spine from back to front as you inhale. Once you're finished with your 3 breaths, you can slip your hands a little wider and then just take a few recovery, resting breaths, normal breaths, unmediated breaths. And then when you're ready, you can fold your hands in, bend your legs, roll to your right, and sit up. So for this next stage, you can keep your bolster as is, keep your strap on. Maybe even tighten the strap a little bit if you want, in order to have a feeling of narrowness in the legs. Narrowness, but not like, I'm not squeezing my legs. The groins are still very soft. So sitting on the bolster. Okay. So just sit on the very edge of the bolster, move the buttock bones back. Spread the shoulders wide. And actually, let's go like this. Let's tuck the fingers underneath the toes. So that there's still a feeling of very long, narrow tallness. And we'll do a series of vilomas here. So we'll do a few viloma cycles. And it's going to be Bahya Viloma. So it's going to be Viloma exhale. Viloma exhales. So we'll breathe up the back body like before. And then you're gonna exhale the breath out in stages. So I'm thinking upper chest, middle chest, lower chest, lower ribs. And so, and a pause at each stage of the exhale. Okay, I'll talk you through the first few cycles, and then you'll do some cycles on your own. The arms are assisting here. The arms are a little bit active, so I'm rolling the upper arm bones up and pushing the elbows back slightly. Pushing the elbows back and spreading across the collarbones. Now inhale, exhale, bring your head down into Jalandhara Bandha. Jalandhara Bandha might be easier with the arms back. You might feel like you can maintain more of the lift of the chest as the head comes down when your arms are pinned back like this. Take a slow, soft inhale, a slow, soft exhale. And now inhale up the back body. It's easier to feel the breath in the back body when you're seated. All the way up to the top, fold the spine from back to front, but keep the skin between the shoulder blades soft. And then exhale just the top third of the chest. Pause. And then exhale through the middle of the chest, middle rib cage, pause. And then exhale all the air out. Feel the ribs descending, the xiphoid descending, the abdomen pulling back. And then take a recovery breath. And then repeat. Inhale, up the back body. And then exhale in stages. Exhale just the top third of the chest. Pause. Exhale, feel the rib cage, feel the breath moving down now. Pause. And then exhale all the air out. Feel how the bottom ribs and the xiphoid process move down, but the top chest stays open. And then take a recovery breath or two. One more all together. Inhale up the back body. Feel the breath climbing up like a ladder. Feel the skin between the shoulder blades widening, but the spine moving from back to front. And then exhale just the top of the chest. Pause. Exhale the middle of the chest, middle of the rib cage, pause. And then exhale all the air out, bottom ribs, xiphoid process, descending, abdomen pulling back. And then take a recovery breath or two. And then do 3 more cycles on your own. 3 more cycles on your own of Bahya Viloma. This is Viloma stage 5, stage 5. See that the arms, you can use the arms a little bit to help maintain the asana. So roll the shoulders back, outer elbows back, slight bend in the elbows to accommodate that lifting of the chest. After you finish your 3 cycles, then return to normal breathing and bring your head up. And you can release your hands when you're done and lay your hands on your lap. And sit quietly for a little while. As you sit quietly, observe the normal breath and see if you can feel the entire spine, the entire rib cage. involved in the breath. Just the normal breath. It's kind of like a pump. Okay, now release the strap. Release your legs. Move your bolster off your mat. And just lie down, flat on your back for a couple of minutes. Now we talked about extending the class so that we could do a little bit more of the more complicated pranayamas. And so at this point, if there are beginners watching this video and you want to make this your final shavasana and then move on with your day, that would be appropriate. If there are intermediate advanced level practitioners who want to do a little bit more, we're going to do a little bit more pranayama after this little bit of rest. So this is just to recover the legs, recover the spine, because it can be tiring to sit up so tall. So this is just to rest for a moment and observe the normal breathing. Observe the normal breathing, but observe the normal movement of the rib cage. So now we're not, the asana is just, we're just in shavasana. We're not doing anything special. But observe how the spine moves, the rib cage moves with the normal breath. So it's like a slight rock, a slight pulse. It's subtle. But that normal movement of the diaphragm, it engages the spine, it engages the rib cage. And just be with that rhythm for another minute or so. All right, so now those of you who want to end your pranayama session now, you're welcome to. Those of you who want to move on and do a little bit more, then roll to your side and sit up. We're going to do some anuloma pranayama, some digital. We've been learning some digital pranayama over the last few weeks, and we're going to continue with that exploration. So now in Swastikasana, get your supports for Swastikasana. And I just want to emphasize that the digital, these more advanced pranayamas, it's really fine to take your time to learn them. There should not be any strain. And so if you don't have a regular asana practice and this is new for you, then better to wait to learn these digital pranayamas. But for those of you who have been practicing for a while, then it's good to learn these. Okay, so we'll start with pranayama mudra. First of all, well, before you do the pranayama mudra, I'll just explain to you what anuloma. So anuloma is when you take a slow, soft inhale, partially block your nostrils, and then exhale through the partially blocked nostrils. The first stage of anuloma is both nostrils are partially closed. You breathe in through both nostrils, and you exhale through partially closed nostrils. And then Anuloma, the next stage, there's 1A, 1B, is when you alternate the nostrils. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of that today, all right? And that's interesting because then you kind of start to observe the difference between the right and left sides. You start to observe the differences in the nostrils, the differences in the different channels of the body. So, so it's definitely asking us to be more attentive. So now from here, press your hands down into the bolster, spread the chest open, glasses off. I'm going to keep mine on just so I can watch. Square off the chest, get very tall. Don't lose any of that height as you now take your hands onto your lap. And then let the left hand palms up, left palm will stay up. The right hand, make a fist, and then release the fourth and fifth finger to make the pranayama mudra. Yeah, and we should have nice short fingernails for this so that we can access our fingertips. As yoga practitioners, our fingertips are actually a really, really important tool for us. Let the touch, and now from here, inhale, exhale, bring the head down into Jalandhara Bandha. And let's just be here for a little while before we start the pranayama. Now, when we talk about the mudra, there should be a softness in the palm of the hand. So at first the mudra might feel like a lot of effort. So there has to be enough suppleness in the hands so that it's not going to be a lot of effort. So the first and second finger, the forefinger and the middle finger should stay nicely tucked in. And then when the fourth and fifth finger and thumb meet, it's like, you know, it's kind of like when we, during COVID, during the pandemic, when we meet with each other, there's like a tenderness, a tentativeness. We don't like greet each other with aggression. We sort of greet each other with gentleness, tenderness, because we don't want to invade anybody's personal space. We don't want to, we want to respect spatial distancing. So it's kind of like the fourth and fifth finger and the thumb, they're meeting with that sort of tentativeness, and they're meeting and they're touching very softly. So in other words, they're not pushing into each other. It's not at all a pushy gesture. It's a very gentle meeting of the fourth and fifth finger tips with a thumb tip. So establish that softness in the hand without losing the mudra. Exhale completely. Take a slow, soft inhale, up the back body. Slow, soft exhale, down the front body without losing the height of the spine. Now, take a slow, soft inhale. At the top of the inhale, bring your right hand up. And now close the right nostril, partially open the left nostril, and exhale through the left nostril. So the right nostril is closed completely. The left nostril, you're partially closing it as you slowly exhale. Slow, soft inhale. Slow, soft exhale. Slow, soft inhale. Bring your hand up. Now close your left nostril, open your right nostril, and exhale through a partially closed right nostril. So you can maybe notice the difference between the two nostrils. And then inhale, exhale. Take another slow, soft inhale. Bring your right hand up, close off the right, exhale through the left. At the end of the exhale, bring your hand down. Slow, soft inhale. Slow, soft exhale. Slow, soft inhale. Bring the hand up. Close off the left. open up the right. And then exhale through the right nostril. Now just release the mudra for a moment. Keep your eyes closed or bring your head up. Take a couple of soft breaths. So just, we're gonna repeat that, but I just wanna point out a couple of things. One is to, every once in a while, when after your hand comes up, every once in a while, just crack your eyes open just for a moment to make sure that the head is centered, because the head tends to turn toward the hand. And then especially when we're working asymmetrically with the nostrils, then the head may tilt slightly to one side or another because of the way the hands are pressing into the nose. Also, the second thing I want to point out is that when the hand is on the nostrils, that you can determine. So for instance, it's normal for our breath, it's normal for the nostrils to kind of like alternate throughout the course of the day. And so we're sort of manipulating that alternation. And so you will find that one nostril is slightly more closed than the other. So you can manipulate with your fingers to make a passageway that is not, not flaring the nostril, but assisting the airflow through. And also, I guess there's a third thing. The third thing is that we are still controlling the exhale, but we don't have to control it as much with the torso because the hand is assisting, okay? But don't let the hand do all the work. In other words, it's not a normal exhale. You're still controlling the exhale, but the hand is mediating it another layer, even further. Okay, let's do 3 more cycles. 3 more cycles, inhale, exhale, inhale, right, right, left, right, left, right, left. Okay. Create your mudra, pranayama mudra with your right hand. Inhale, exhale, bring your head down. And take a slow, soft inhale. And an exhale. Take a slow, soft inhale. Bring the hand up. Close off the right. Partially open the left. Slowly exhale. Keep your head centered, keep your head down. At the end of the exhale, bring your hand down. Inhale. Exhale. Take a slow, soft inhale. Bring your hand up. Close off the left, open up the right. Exhale through the right nostril. Slowly, evenly, gently. Take a slow, soft inhale. And exhale. So that's one cycle. Do 2 more on your own. So closing off the right, breathing through the left. Still that awareness of the trunk's participation in controlling the breath, but now the hand is also there to provide an extra layer of mediation. Make sure the head stays centered. Make sure you're applying the fingertips to the nose, and to see that the skin on the fingertips is just as soft as the skin on the nose. So, like I said earlier, it's a gentle, it's sort of a tentative meeting. It's not an aggressive, the hand is not forcing itself onto the nose. The hand is just gently meeting the nose. It's kind of like when the hand meets the nose, it's kind of like offering itself, like the way we might offer a hug. We don't force a hug. kind of offering itself to the nose and then assisting, not colonizing or oppressing. All right. Now from here, stretch your legs out. You can open your eyes, stretch your legs out. And then lie down again. You can take the bolster, once you're down, you can take the bolster across your lap. And even if you want, you could put the blankets on top of the bolster because that adds some extra weight. And that little bit of weight on your thighs can be quite soothing. If it doesn't feel soothing, you don't have to do it. But if you find that weight soothing, then go ahead and take Shavasana here. It can be tiring. The seated pranayama can be tiring because you have to sit up so tall and straight, taller and straighter than we do when we're just casually sitting. So now allow the back muscles to spread. Allow the back ribs to spread on the floor. Normal, unmediated breath. Hopefully there's a softness, a suppleness between the ribs. The intercostal muscles can be soft, released here. And even when you're in Shavasana, you can sort of feel that very subtle pumping of the breath, spine responding, the ribcage responding. It's not at all gross. It's a very mild action. But really, we breathe with our whole body. And even at rest, you can observe this subtle movement. You don't even have to do anything. You can just observe it. All right, so I will officially end our time, but you can stay in Shavasana as long as you wish and come out when you're ready. Hope you have a wonderful day. Take good care, everybody.